right. So listen, we're here with Chef Andre Rush, a veteran who has journeyed from the rural South to the White House. You worked with 4 different administrations: President Bill Clinton, President George W. Bush, President Barack Obama, and most recently Donald Trump. So I'm just curious, that journey is not an easy crossover to make, but you did. I know you can't tell us all right now, but how does that happen?
Wow.
And thank you for joining us here on Montgomery and Company, Chef. Welcome to the family.
Pleasure to be here. It doesn't just happen. I mean, it's like, I'll be honest with you, is put your head down and go to work. Don't look up and just keep going. Right. My mindset was growing up in the South, my dad taught me the value of hard work. He said, always work harder than anybody else. And he also said to me an important lesson. That was tough when I was a kid. He told me that someone is not going to like you. Someone is always going to try to make you fail, right? And he told me this from a very young age, the whole time. So I was paranoid, right? Even now at my status, I'm still the hardest worker in the room. And
yes.
He just said, that was my mindset, just go in there and just work your butt off and don't even worry about what's going to happen. Leave no doubt, no room for any doubts from yourself. So if it's not going to happen, it wasn't because of you. It's
Right.
because of variables, there's narratives that somebody's trying to change. But also at the same time, you can change a narrative. And that's what I did. And no, it was hard as hell, actually.
I already know it wasn't easy.
That's really powerful. I know it wasn't easy.
That sounds like athletes. Like me being an athlete, it sounds a lot like how an athlete functions or how an athlete looks at things. And, you released a book on April 19th. The book is called Call Me Chef, Dammit, A Veteran's Journey from the Rural South to the White House. First of all, how'd you come up with the name? And then tell us about a little bit about your book.
Because I want to be called Chef, damn it. No.
What are they calling you?
No, I'm going to be honest with you. It was something that I used to always say because it's actually a story behind that. I was in the South, loved cooking with my mom. Cooking was a hobby of mine. People didn't know. I mean, I did a lot of other things besides cooking. But cooking just what I just stuck to, and I just God given. I was just great at it. I became a master ice carver, pastry chef, Olympic chef. Just loved cooking. Had no formal training whatsoever. At the time, and then when I joined this thing called culinary in this world where I didn't belong because I was different. I was a black, pretty big guy, pretty athletic. I didn't kiss any butt at all. So that was different from the world I came from. I was a hard guy, and I was also pretty raw at the same time. And so when I got into this world of people, in the culinary world is very these guys take this stuff serious. They're arrogant. They're like this and
Listen, I watch Top Chef. And them people, I'm just saying, I watch Chopped, all of that. It feels competitive.
Well, it's funny because I was just with Gordon Ramsay 2 weeks ago. He came down and saw me, and we hung out. I'm actually with him, so I got some other stuff coming up, big stuff coming up. But
what? Nice. Congrats. Just casually drop that in there. No, right?
Well, I can drop a couple. I'm just gonna leave it at that. But I'm also they call me the giant killer. I kill people's egos. I take them back to humble. You always been humble, being grateful because everybody didn't have the same opportunity that you had.
Right.
I didn't go to a fancy culinary school. I had to pick up books I had to pay for. I didn't have all this stuff, and I had to fail 100 times. I'm sorry, 1,000 times. To succeed that 1,001 time to make it up there. And when I joined in with all these guys that were this way, and they felt me as an outsider. How did you get here? Why are you here? How did you coming in here? This is our area. So in their little minds, it was calling each other chefs and not calling me that. Right? And I'm like, okay, I get it. I didn't care. I didn't care even with the wording. But what happened was after I became actually a chef, do the whole thing, they still wouldn't do it. The head guy.
Wow.
And I was young, like I said again. I wasn't a show pony. I didn't care about accolades or anything like that. But respect was a huge thing with me growing up in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
one day we
Definitely.
did something where I was just working harder than anybody else, and I knew it, and they knew it also. And we were doing something that I just ran over everybody, and he wouldn't call me chef, but he called everybody else chef. And then he came to me. One of the things that I hate being called is by my last name. Just calling Rush, right? It's like an insult, right? It's like you don't say like put the Mister or the Doctor in front of it or whatever.
Put some respect on my
Put some
name.
respect on my name.
Right. Yes.
And they didn't do that, and I'll be very honest with you guys. Just by reflex, when he didn't do it, I kind of ran over to him really quick and picked him up in the air and said, "Call me chef, damn it."
Wait a minute. Just by reflex,
By
you
reflex.
pinned the man up.
It
You
was
just
a
picked him
reflex.
up.
It was a reflex. He was a light guy. So he was only like 200 pounds. So it was just my reflex, And it was just, I had to catch myself. It was like an out of body. It was just so much, and just, I kind of snapped a little bit and everybody looked and gasped because it was like, and then he looked down at me.
And did he call you chef?
Of course he called me chef.
You better call me chef, damn it!
And you know what was
Right.
funny about it was I was like, oh, okay, what did I just do? And then after that, he never stopped calling me chef after that. Never.
Listen,
Even at that point in time, I didn't care if he did.
Do you blame him?
You blame him.
I think the same thing. You blame
That's
him?
crazy, but sometimes you have to make people put some respect on your name. Maybe not physically, but it was a reaction.
Never physically. That was a reflex. That was a reflex.
That was a reflex.
Hey.
Now you wrote this book, and it covers a lot of different things: anxiety, PTSD. There's a lot of different things that you battled through, but they have to read the book to find out all of that. We don't want to give all the secrets away, but I'm curious, not to just give away any Secret Service secrets, but what type of things could you not include in the book? I mean, you were the chef for the presidents.
That book probably covers about 10%.
Wow.
And if you read the book or know about the book, it's a lot in the book. But actually, I wouldn't even say 10%. I would say more like maybe 4%. It's a lot that I could have said or did say, but I did change a lot of the narrative of it. But I did make it very transparent. What I didn't want to do is tell people what they wanted to hear. I tell them what they need to hear, right? And that was the whole part. And
what did they need to hear, just in the general sense?
The general sense is that I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff. I'm not a politician. I'm not going to do a dog and pony show. I'm not going to be like, oh, my life in the military was so grand and so great, and oh, I had a perfect life, and you can do it too. No, I struggled my butt off.
Okay, I like that.
I've had hard times. I've failed so many times. Even at my top game, I've been put down. And I get put down every day. Even now at my status, somebody wants to try to make me seem like I'm not what I am, right? I get it. I get attacked all the time, whether it be with racial slurs or whether it just be with degrading, whether it be with stupid comments about steroids, which I don't know anything about and don't care, just because you can't get a body like mine.
So tell them how you got all them muscles then, just in case they don't know.
2,200 damn push-ups a day.
2,222 push-ups a day. I just want you guys to 2,000. And why that number? Can I just?
So that number is because 22 vets commit suicide a day. It's huge with me. It's 22 vets a day, but I caveat that not only with the foundation of my military. I had a couple guys literally commit suicide. Well, one of my guys hours after calling me, right? Young guy, black male, 27 years old, smiley, wife, 2 kids. Wow. And we joked and laughed all the time, put him on the Food Network, and he was at the top of his game, right? Just like a lot of people are, and I say it because I talk about the military, but I also want to know that it's not only the military; it's a global epidemic, a pandemic. It's just like everywhere. I mean, even thinking about it right now, we have the highest child suicides. The ages from 11 to 27 or 28 is number 2 for suicide. It's number 10 on the calendar in the U.S. for suicide, and that starts with mental health, mental wellness. So I start with the military because it's really hard, but I also caveat with all our kids, with all our women, with all our people, everything we're going through from all of the divisions that we've had in the last few years, from And then we have social media, which is the most powerful weapon in the world. It is
Yeah.
used for so much great, but you have so many people that take that little toxicity and they try to push it off, and they try to use these little bullies that have groups and whatnot, right? Whether it be in these schools, whether they be talking about these kids, and I have, and my biggest part of what I do is kids. I love, love, love kids. Everything I do, and I am so fortunate and blessed because every time I go out, every time I fly, the people who recognize me the most are kids. They come up to me. I talk with them, I push with them, I give them a challenge coin, and I challenge them to be better, to be greater. They say, I want to be like you. And I say, no, be better than me. I'm giving you my platform from where I left off. Now you start there and just make it better, right? Don't start from scratch.
Thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's what it's all about.
It is.
And it's a beautiful thing. You're the founder of 2222 Inc., which is a 501c3, which mentors, supports, teaches, educates, and empowers youth in unreasonable circumstances. So that's kind of what you kind of were describing right there. And you also use food as medicine and therapy, which I think is dope. And I can't help to think about the situation that happened in Buffalo at the Tops grocery store, because now there's a food desert that's been created there. And so just as well as anyone else, but if you could elaborate on it about how food can be used to heal your body and used as medicine. So when we are in areas that have a food desert, what are the effects of that?
I just talked to someone. I do a lot of big insecurities with the World Food Bank. I've been over in Texas, all the places doing a thing. And people, it's funny because I've gone to a lot of third world countries, right? Where people are picking up, grains off of the road. And I'll be very honest with you, we here in the U.S., we've come to a place where we become complacent, entitled, none respect, not only for others, but for ourselves, right? I want to go back to those roots where I talk about, I'm actually going to Mississippi soon. That's where I'm from, and they're going to do an honor, but Mississippi is one of the unhealthiest.
Wait a minute. Congratulations. I think you just tried to throw something in there real quick that they're going to honor you for something. Wait a minute.
Did I say that
Wait
word?
a minute.
No, I
think I heard something.
Never mind.
You
Congratulations.
almost missed it if you're not paying attention.
No.
You just drop it so casually.
You're listening too hard. Let me just talk. So I want people to understand, to go back to those roots of what food is meant for. We got into this day and age where everybody's about fitness and health, and it gets misconstrued because, food is life. Food is health, holistic. Medication is loving, relationships, caring, giving, building bridges. All those things that food are, we forgot about. It's not just to put in our mouth and just be like, I need this to grow bigger. I need this to... No, this is medicine. This is earth. You know what I'm saying? This is where we were born from. You know what I mean? You don't think about that stuff. I tell people, and they don't understand, because demographically, when you can go to LA, you can go to Mississippi, you can go to the South, you can go West, you can go to Korea, you can go anywhere you want to. And the way that person handles the food is a lifestyle. Right? I go to Michelin stars, go to 5 stars, and I can walk out because I'm like, your service sucks. Right? I want to feel love. That food can be the best in the world, but if your service sucks, I'm leaving. I don't feel it. I don't want it. I don't care how fancy or how you are, who you think you are. And that goes in with the chefs. They talk about it. Am I the best chef in the world? Of course not. But I'm where every chef wants to be. You have to make a difference. You can be on top of your game and you can play pretend, but what are you actually doing? What's not even your legacy? What's your worth? What's your value that's given in? And I align myself around people with that, and that has to understand. And you understand as an athlete, because I started doing a thing called Cooking and Cope, where I taught people how to utilize food. We have mystery baskets, and I just say, cook something. And they didn't know what, because they have a recipe, and it was just crazy stuff. There was arguing, there was looking to see what each other was doing, and then there was this laughter, and then there was tasting all this sometimes horrible food and sometimes great food.
That's what I say.
But it was a bonding thing that they loved to death. And then what I did was brought in the families and brought in the kids, and then it became their relationships. And then I started telling you about your body, why this food is important. From your culture, your DNA, from your background, your race, white, yellow, black, brown, who you came from, demographics. And I told them to get your blood work done, find out those underlines, and make sure to make your body work for yourself and what you put in your body. Because everything doesn't marry with everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
love it. And so no, it's just like these are things that you're saying when you're an athlete. They preach these things because your body is your tool and your body is your everything. So as an athlete, I know everything you're saying is true because they are very intentional. In sports, you have to make sure you get whatever little advantage you can get rather than someone else in your training, whatever it is, like that's what you start to obsess with, getting those little incremental differences. So what you're saying is it's like, it sounds so familiar to me. Yeah, it's so true.
We were just talking earlier about poverty. And, when you talk about poverty, you talk about shelter, you talk about clothing. And these are things that, they might want to focus on. But, you can live without clothing. You can live without a roof over your head. But food is the key to poverty, really it is.
And it really is. It really is. People got to understand also one of the main things you said about that being an athlete. I'm an athlete. I do a lot of different things. But this is a long game. The one thing that I see with a lot of guys, a lot of cats that I run into, they say the word I hate, I used to look like that. I used to be this, and it's like, yeah, when I was your age, I'm like, how old are you? And I'm like, dude, I'm older than you. What be quiet? Get your butt in the gym. Shut up.
Like, you ain't trying to hear that, but you know what? You don't look. I'm sure you don't look your age. So that's probably, and that's to your point, because you heal your body on a daily basis. So you are going to look great. Your skin is going to look great. You are going to look younger than maybe what your age indicates because of that. And we're talking about food a lot. So I got to ask you some questions involving food, because you went from being in the military to the head chef at the White House. So I want to start by, what was the most popular dish of each administration? You had 4 different ones. What was the most requested dish of each one?
Anything I cooked.
For real?
Whatever I say goes.
That. Really?
Whatever I cook, you'll put in your mouth. No, I'm just joking.
I was like, you are the truth. Go ahead.
That's a true statement. But at the same time, I tell people that each personality, demographically, for some reason, people have this, like the kitchen in the White House is very small, extremely small.
Really?
Yeah, because it's old. Wow. The White House is hundreds of years old. Like,
it wasn't a highlight.
That's the opposite of what I would think. I thought it was like,
no, it's very old. Very, very. It's the original. It's the original,
and it won't be changed historically. Blah blah blah, so forth.
Yeah.
But at the same time, also you think about all the presidents, that gets in the office. Now, mind you, these guys, before they even come into office, they're well seasoned, meaning around the world. So they eat a lot of different profiles. And they're not the youngest, right? So they have to watch their health. So, and everybody's trying to impress them, right? Everybody's trying to impress them. So they have a lot of creams and butters and this and that. They don't think about anything about their health or their dietary, unless they have a dietary. And honestly, in the White House, like recent years, from the Obamas, it became health conscious, with the garden. Right? Everything that had to be done in the White House had to have something from the garden, even internally. Right? Another tidbit, people didn't know that the family in the White House, they have to pay for their own food.
What?
Wow. They got to pay for their own groceries?
So if I want caviar, I got to pay for it?
If you ask me to get it, you do. and guess what? That caviar that you bought, you know how they say, are you like an auctioneer? You bought an auction car and then you take it to the Lamborghini place. That caviar gonna go from the auction place to the Lamborghini place. It's expensive, right? Now, unless it's a like,
we don't pay for the president's food.
No, we pay for the president's food, not the president's family's food.
Oh,
okay, got it.
No, we don't pay for the president's food.
Oh no, she's right. You don't pay for the president's food
and his family. That's the president.
That's why our presidents didn't have big families.
Yeah.
Wow. So Chef Rush, don't you mean to tell me? Okay, I know you done cook the soul food meal in there now, Chef Rush.
Of course, they know it. I mean, I always got to throw some soul in there. Everything. I love I love mixing different cultures and things together, especially my heritage with soul food. And, I can.
So, like, what would be a quick menu for your soul food menu if you was in the White House, just because you like to mix and match?
I would do like probably like a chicken roulade with like some greens like folded inside of it, and do some force
some
meat.
collard greens inside the chicken.
Yeah, you want to know it because you have like this spiral of colors with that green and yellow and red, and then that nice white meat that you're gonna have inside that I forced, and then roll into a tempad, and then kind of roll it and fry it like with some panko or something. Make it nice, fresh, and vibrant. Then cut it.
Wait a minute,
so making us hungry over here.
So that's how they was cooking. I know our forever first lady, Mrs. Michelle Obama. I heard that her mother was helping cook in there, so she was rolling that up like that too.
She's not like that, but yeah. And see, they also have their own kitchens. So when I say about having their own stuff, they have their own quarters.
Nice.
Right adjacent. So they have like a whole house. To themselves. So still a lot of stuff, like I said, when they have to pay for their own stuff, they can have little snippets in their place to do themselves and not have to worry about that. I mean, it wouldn't matter how much money I have. I'm still not going to just spend a ton of money on just, a slice of bread.
Right.
Yeah. So I have a question.
Of course.
So I get you don't get picked by like the presidents. You get picked by the government, or like, because I'm just curious about this process. So they provide a chef, but then they don't provide for the money for the food.
No. So actually the true story is Flotus actually picks all of the head chefs. Right? And then it gets from there.
Okay.
So you have different sides. So you also have what's called Eisenhower, which is also, Air Force One, which is Air Force, Marine One, which is Marines, the Navy mess, which is the White House mess over in Eisenhower is by the Navy, like the Army. Everybody has a section, with government on how to do. So that was a great point that you made. And then you have, West Wing, which is the civilian side of it. But you have to have the clearances, top secret clearances, yada, yada, being whatever, which I've had forever. And we vet inside house, meaning that we don't take from the outside. It's not like you're going to go and find a job for the White House in Craigslist.
That's true.
Or,
right.
A back door or something like that.
And do you live there? So how does that, like, you stay there and live there the whole time?
I'd go crazy if I live. Would you think about living in the White House?
I don't know what's going on, Chef. No privacy.
So I guess because we're thinking about 3 meals a day, so we're thinking you gotta be.
I mean, think about it.
That is a lot of hours.
Think about it. You can probably bleep this part out, but think about it. We haven't had a lot of presidents that lived there.
Oh, okay. I forget that they're not there the whole time like that. I'm thinking that
like you're taking the veil off our eyes because we thought that
we thinking they are submerged right there, and everything's like that's
exactly.
Social media. That's what.
Social media. Take off the smoke and mirrors for us. Okay, so I have one last question. We ask all of our guests this because right now you're talking to my wife, you're talking to my sister, and you're talking to my mother. The whole family.
Love it.
Welcome to the family, Chef Rush.
Meant that.
I meant that. Yeah. So we talk about generational wealth a lot and what that means because it looks a lot of different ways, and we've heard people see it a lot of different ways. So I'm just curious, what does generational wealth mean to you?
Generational wealth. Wow, that's a great and powerful question. I love that question because some people, you'll get a million different answers. But for me, generational wealth is, like I said, it's going to start with, I'm not living for myself. I live for my kids. I live for everyone, not only my kids, but your kids or the other kids and all the kids that I'll see in the world. Everybody is so consistent on, trust me, I take care of them, but I want everybody to grow in the same. They need to have a foundation for tomorrow, the next day, the next year, the next millennial, the next century. Anything they need to do and know how to do that. And we're losing that. Everybody is so self-sustained and they just worry about themselves and what they can build for themselves and not think about it. I tell people all the time, very simple. If you have takers and givers, but if you have givers and givers, you never go wrong, you never go broke, you never go hungry, and you never have to look over your back, right? Generational wealth should be shared equally. That way we won't have any of these stigmas and separating these by categories. You're in the lower level, you're in the middle level, you're in the higher level. Higher level is going to keep the lower level down and they will never let you go up. Right? And that person that's at the generation, the lowest level could be the next president. So rise them up and help them. You got to do it for everyone, not only for yourself and not only for your inner spirits. So you got to do the right thing.
Beautiful.
Wow.
He's Chef Andre Rush, and his book, Call Me Chef Dammit, is available everywhere. It came out April 19th. Listen, this was just a snippet. We could have talked to
Want to
you
pick
all
me up
day.
a copy of that because I love to cook anyway. I just
Yes.
want to tell
I'll
other
personally
cooks
sign
to
it
get
for
the
you.
job.
Oh, please listen.
Most
I definitely really do want a signed copy, Chef Andre
Okay.
Rush. Love everything
Same.
that you're doing.
Yeah.
Talking about food being healing. I think that our community needs a lot of healing. So love it. Like coming from the athlete perspective, everything you're saying is just spot on. So thank you for joining us here on
Yes,
Montgomery
nice
and
to meet
Company.
you.
And we'll
Nice
be on the
to meet
lookout
you.
for something with Chef Gordon Ramsay. We're going to be on the lookout.
We
You
watching
better
for
look
it.
out. You better look out. Seriously.
Thank you, Chef.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Chef.
guys. It's a pleasure.